Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
You know, I speak to a lot of people, including the president, but a lot of people on this show about a lot of different policies. And we just had Alex Trayman on from Israel, for example. We cover everything from the Knicks to Israel. You get it all right here on Sid and Friends in the morning. But when it comes to the economy and what it really looks like, I go to Kudlow. That's it. I don't listen to Jamie Dimon, or Bill Ackman, any one of these guys. I go to Larry Kudlow. So here he is, my dear friend, the brilliant Larry Kudlow. Larry, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good, Sid. Thank you. I'll never live up to it, but you're very kind.
You certainly do live up to it when the president employs you because he's so impressed and you get the ratings you get on radio and TV. You certainly live up to it. And I got to tell you, I love the fact, listen, it's difficult enough to be the Treasury Secretary, but when you're trying to do it during wartime and President Trump, because he's doing the right thing in Iran, has to face the economic issues that he is, you really come to find, and you say this all the time, Larry, what a great Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is, right?
Scott was my pick from day one, right after the election in November 24, and I think he's done a terrific job. And, it's important because nobody can predict the future, and nobody could have predicted the war, and he has stepped up and stepped in and done things to bankrupt and economically and financially choke off Iran that's never been done before. He's using tools that the Treasury Department has that had never been used or had never been used as aggressively as he is using them. I mean, once President Trump gave him the direction, basically, it was Scott who engineered the blockade. It was Scott who engineered the embargo. And using, again, Treasury tools. It's Scott, by the way, who just took away almost $1 billion in cryptocurrency from the Iranian IRGC mullahs, the crazy radical Islamists who were running that place into the ground. That's a huge chunk. They want offshore. They're stealing and looting money from Iranian businesses and Iranian citizens and depositing it, in various banks in the Gulf and elsewhere. And that includes this haul of nearly $1 billion of cryptocurrency, which ironically, if you go back, Sid, a lot of people argued a few years ago, and I was in the White House, people were worried that, cryptocurrency could avoid jurisdiction, could use it for drug money and other nefarious purposes. Yeah,
like ransom money, because we kept hearing during the whole Nancy Guthrie saga that that's what the bad guys wanted to do. Yeah.
But, it turns out that the, improving technologies for blockchain actually make it easier to follow crypto finance. And so what Scott Bessent and his team at Treasury, some of whom are my old deputies at the National Economic Council, what they've done is kept a careful watch, and now they've frozen it. They've seized it. And they've seized all these bank accounts, in countries that, play both sides, such as Qatar or Oman or others. And this has taken the financial guts out of the IRGC, which is just what we need. It's terribly important that we deny Iran money.
Yep.
And now what you see is, because they can't sell any oil, which the Treasury Department engineered. They can't sell any oil, so nobody's showing up. The cops aren't being paid. The troops aren't being paid. The police aren't showing up. It's fascinating, and it's starting to catch up. And I think whatever President Trump decides to do in terms of negotiating his red lines, which he seems to be holding fast on, this is economic and financial starvation. And the guy behind this economic fury is my pal Scott Bessent.
Yeah,
it's a phenomenal story.
He's been great. He has.
Phenomenal story.
Yeah, and Trump says that he may have a deal done as early as next week. But there is some fear, especially from Israelis. And you can appreciate this because Iran has been the country that has funded all those terror proxies, Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas, that in this potential deal, the United States will loosen some of the restrictions and sanctions, Larry Kudlow, and Iran will get money. And when they get money, they have proven time and time again, it's not to feed the starving people on the streets. It's not to build schools or hospitals. They'll go right back to doing what they did before, which is fund groups to kill Jews and Americans. You know, that's a fear out there.
Well, I think it is a fear, and I think that would be a big mistake. We were just out at the Reagan Library for this economic conference where I interviewed Scott Bessent. But one of the key themes that Reagan launched many, many years ago, 45 years ago, when he was bringing down Soviet communism, was trust but verify. And the verification procedures here are going to be very, very important. I don't know what they are. I am concerned about them. I agree with you. You do not want to loosen any of these financial sanctions. And there are rumors that part of a deal might be $12 billion in cash.
Ouch.
How that money is arrived at, I don't know. But I don't want them to have a nickel.
No.
Not a nickel.
I agree.
And then, of course, the Iranians somehow believe that they have $120 billion in frozen assets. Well, that's good. Those frozen assets, that's Scott Bessent freezing offshore bank accounts, okay? Keep the money. They must not get the money. This should amount to unconditional surrender. The red lines have to be in place. No nuclearization. The enriched fuel has to leave Iran and go to the United States. The Hormuz Strait has to be reopened with no conditions, no control by Iran. And their missile program, which they have already started to rebuild
Correct.
during this ceasefire, that has to be curbed also. And all of it, talking to Jack Keane about it last night on the TV show, all of this must have strict paragraph by paragraph verification. And you cannot let just a bunch of UN inspectors come in. This has to be done by Americans, presumably American troops.
100% agreed, because we tried this before. We know how that went. I do want to ask you, though, about the economy here. This is the great Larry Kudlow on ABC every weekend, and does a great job on Fox News every day. You know, I go back to this movie I really enjoyed, Philadelphia, when no one knew about AIDS. You know, Tom Hanks was brilliant in that movie. And Denzel Washington was the attorney in the movie. And he would say to the people that were trying to destroy Tom Hanks, he would say, speak to me like I'm a first grader. And I got to tell you, Larry, with most of my listeners who used to listen to Boomer Esiason talk about the Giants, but now I got them to come here, they're not all that savvy when it comes to the economy. So they hear from one side that the economy is bad, that interest rates are still too high, that inflation is still too high, that, you know, that we're in trouble. And then even Jamie Dimon has said that, your friend Jamie. But then they hear from Larry Kudlow, no. Actually, the indicators show the economy is pretty good. So speak to me like I'm a first grader, Larry Kudlow. Is the economy good or bad? Bottom line, with midterms now, just a couple of months away.
The one that hurt there was Boomer on the Giants. Holy cow. That was killer.
I know.
Speaking as a diehard Giant fan. But anyway, you know, the economy is business is booming. I just want to say that because you won't read about it, but business is booming. Business earnings, profits are booming. That's why the stock market is booming. Actually, the GDP, I know you can't eat GDP, but it's a measure of the economy. The GDP is growing at about 3%, despite the bump up in oil prices, which I might add, incidentally, oil prices are slowly coming down as ships are passing through now, the Strait of Hormuz. But the key point, even with gasoline at the pump, and I get it, and it hurts some people, and I do feel their pain on that, but it's a very big economy, and I've never seen such investment going on, which is a tremendous thing for the future of the country and the economy. Look, just to start with the stock market. I'm astonished at how media types do not want to look at the stock market, but that tells you whether there's confidence or not. And it also tells you about the future. The stock market is telling you that the economy is going to be good in the future. That's why it's breaking records. I mean, you're looking at unheralded numbers for the Dow 50,000 and the S&P 7,500. I mean, people with their 401ks and IRAs are doing very, very well right now. You've got the AI revolution. You've got all kinds of investments across the board. Even manufacturing, the last 3 or 4 months, has started to snap back. Just yesterday, we had the ISM's supply managers showing 54%, which was much higher than anybody thought. I think it's the third or fourth straight month. And I want to make a point here. Profits, which the left hates because it does show the health of business. The left hates business. Mondani hates business. But the fact of the matter is profits are the mother's milk of stocks and the lifeblood of the economy. So when you combine all these profits plus tremendous increases in productivity for a variety of reasons, AI, but not only AI, you've got yourself a very spiffy economy that's probably growing around 3% despite the oil shock, the temporary oil shock, and these prices will come down. I mean, you can look at one thing after another. I mean, business, capital goods, machinery, equipment, factories. Last 3 months, orders are up 19% at an annual rate. Shipments are up 12.5% at an annual rate. You don't see those kind of numbers in a slump. I'm sorry. No. And here's the thing. When business is healthy, that means companies can hire workers and they can pay them increased wages. This is so important. And the cost of those wages are not inflationary. Unit labor costs are only 1.2%. The labor costs are rock bottom. Now, we have some inflation because of the oil shock, okay? But if you chop off the inflation, you're really looking at, I don't know, maybe 2.5% inflation. So is that a little tiny bit too high? Yes. But it's not cracking up the economy.
No, not much.